bogged down by student loan debt, the housing crisis, and the rising cost of everything. A cohort of workers fresh out of post-secondary will soon be stepping out of their bedroom offices and through the corporate doors for the first time. But as some workplaces head back to the office, there's a new movement emerging. Young people looking to redefine work, including a better work-life balance. With more this morning, I'm joined by Lisa Taylor, president of Challenge Factory and co-author of The Talent Revolution, Longevity and the Future of Work. She joins us this morning from Toronto. Hello.
Good morning.
So how do you think the pandemic has changed career goals and relationships for workers to their jobs?
I think one of the most significant changes that have happened is we're talking about it more. We're thinking about it more. We're talking about the intersection of work and life, of what we want, what we value. And we're doing that with our friends, with our family. We're seeing it in the media all the time, where before work might have been work, and then, you kind of get on with the rest of your life. So we're really seeing that integration, and not just an integration of work and life, but a willingness and a hunger to talk about it, to think about it.
And how are young people driving this conversation?
So for young people, it's really interesting, especially those that have graduated within the last couple of years or are just coming upon graduation, because they're getting bombarded with all kinds of really negative messaging, about career scarring and a lost generation and the economy and how expensive things are and housing. And they're also getting messaging about the fact that it's a job seekers market and unemployment is at an all-time low, and that people are looking for staff and can't find them, and that young people should be transforming the world of work. And so all of these messages together are a little bit confusing, especially because they have no context. They have no before time. They don't know how work was before. They just know they're expected to change it. It's terrible and positive all at the same time, and they need a little guidance.
And so how are you seeing young workers, I guess, push against the overall system to make some of those changes?
Some of the changes that are happening are related to just the discussion levels related to values and what matters. We've certainly seen over the last number of years a rise in social justice awareness and environmental awareness. Young people are asking and demanding what their employers are doing in pretty critical areas that in the past, new job seekers or those if they were just starting their career might not have asked all of those questions. And so that's one movement that's really pushing employers to really have not just statements about what they do, but to actually make sure that when those young people are entering the workplace, they're actually living the values that they thought that company held. I don't actually think that that's unique to young people. I think that it's just that it's an environment that younger people are graduating into or inheriting right at a moment in time when we're coming off of a crisis, when these kinds of conversations have been happening in different ways than they did before. I think that we would find people of all generations are looking at their work and looking at the values and making connections to say, is this actually a place I want to be affiliated with? Is this the type of work I want to do? I think that there's options for lots of people to be thinking about things in different ways.
And do you see those questions extending as far into industries? I'm thinking, for instance, like working at a forestry mill, a mine, working in oil sands. Is that conversation happening in the industrial sense as well?
I think it is. And I don't think that it's only being led by young people or by employees. I think employers are also recognizing that, they can't just greenwash statements, that if they want to attract the best and the brightest, first of all, their businesses need to be innovative and on the leading edge of some of the changes that are happening within, for example, the environmental movement. And if we just take a look at what's happening within electric vehicles and some of the other environmental innovation areas within the country, investments are being made in these areas too. So it's smart business to not just pay lip service, but to actually say, where is this going and how can we be transforming our business for the good of the organization, but also for our employees? And what do our employees have to say about that?
And coming back to that, the well-being of employees, of course, many have been working from home. From that arose conversations about 4-day work weeks. Do you see the overall way that we work changing as well?
I think so, because what has happened over the last couple of years is that we have seen that saying that, well, this is the way we've always done it is not going to, that doesn't stick anymore, because we've seen that we can change the way that we do things. The question is, though, not necessarily to say, so we need to stay doing things the way we've been doing them in crisis mode. I think what we need to do is take from what we've been living through in these, crisis years and say, what have we learned? And together, what do we want from the future of work? How can we take what we've learned and the best of what brings us to the best work that we're doing and shape a future of work that we want to be part of as employees, that employers see as an advantage in the way that they engage with their workforce and they retain their workforce? And we shape a future of work that not only do we want to be working in, but that we want to leave to our children.
Interesting, because, from the other side of it, having just come through a pandemic where we've seen food shortages and a lot of fear, now we're looking at the specter of inflation. Is there a chance that optimism will be watered down just by overall concerns about trying to make it from paycheck to paycheck?
I think that's always a risk, and it really depends on what messages we end up surrounding ourselves with. So it is true that right now, inflation is a concern. Housing is a concern. The price of things, definitely concerning. Will it be like this for the next 10 years? I don't think so. And I think that one of the things that we need to do is to take a look to say, okay, so what is real in my situation right now? What support do I need and where can I get it? And how can my employer help me with that? And where is there actually really negative messaging that's coming at me, but I'm not actually in crisis mode? So how can I contribute to finding solutions for other people so that we don't spiral down because everyone is talking with negativity? Instead, we say, let's take a really realistic view of the world around us, and let's figure out how we take steps to make things better for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, and for those that we're working with.
Good to talk to you about this today, Lisa. Thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Lisa Taylor is the president of Challenge Factory and co-author of The Talent Revolution, Longevity and the Future of Work.